What's going on YouTube? GrimDM here back again, and this time I've actually got a little bit of a, I guess you would call a pickup, a mailbag. Now it's not a D&D book, so it's not aiding in my collection, but I came across a bargain, I guess we could say, on eBay. It wasn't very far away, and it was for some minis. Now, when I was a young fella playing D&D or the Rogue Trader days of 40k, Fantasy Battle, all those kinds of things, minis were like an addiction. No matter how many I had, I just wanted more. And when I would go to the toy shop and I'd look at the book racks with like the Dungeons and Dragons splat books and the things that I wanted to get book wise, there was another little spinny rack, and there was two names that were always sort of at the top of my list to look at, and that was the companies of Ralpatha and Grenadier. I always loved looking at the miniatures made specifically under the Dungeons and Dragons banner. Um, so I had some minis pop up in my eBay feed again that were close, and it was a bargain. So I decided to chuck a bid on it, and lo and behold, I won. Now I'm going to preface this that obviously the quality of miniatures between back in those days and now is through the roof. I've done my best to take pictures of these, and actually, I think in person, I'm actually quite surprised at how good the sculpts are. It made me question whether the date stamps were accurate. So the date is stamped on the bottom, and I've taken a photo. So these were labelled, they're from 1980. So if you've seen some of the miniatures from back then, pretty poor, but the sculpts on these look really, really good in as far as detail and stuff goes. And I never had these particular ones back in the day, so I don't really have any frame for reference. I tried to capture the birth date on the base of the mini, but it's hard to pick it up in the light. I sort of need to like brush it with something, put a wash across it maybe, so I can actually pick up that date better. The photo on the eBay listing said 1980. I've had a close look, and I kind of want to say 1990, but even then, I don't think the Games Workshop minis were as good as this back then in 1990 as far as Citadel goes. But potato. So I'm going to show you what I picked up here. So I'm just gonna start. I'll keep talking, and I'm just going to chuck pictures up of the minis as I see them. So you can see this one here. It's sort of primed in white now. About half of these have no paint on them whatsoever, and some of them have varying degrees of paint job, or they're just primed. I'm going to strip them right back to nothing and repaint them myself. So you should be able to pick up the detail, not too bad though. So even there on the back, the detail in person looks way better. Like it. I'm very, very surprised again at the quality of these miniatures. So if we go to this next one, you can see I've taken the photo of the bottom the best I could. I didn't check the base of every single one. I sort of propped this one up. But Grenadier A.484, if you're a miniature expert, and I do plan to look up this numbering or model number or whatever you want to call it, to see if I can glean out a bit more information. But that kind of looks like a 9 to me. But we will see what we find on the next one. So here's one that is in the unprimed state. And again, I think the detail is actually really good. Now, back in those days, poses for miniatures were limited, and you'd buy a pack of minis and they're basically all the same. So I got 11 of these for $10, which I think is a steal. But they are all in the same pose. It doesn't bother me. Where I would be breaking out all 11 of them at once, probably not really called for in a traditional D&D sense. But I think I think they're still quite good. So we'll go on to the next one here. And here's the back. Maybe you can see that a bit better in the unprimed state. I think the detail on these is bloody awesome. The different sort of, I guess you would call it, gauges of chainmail. They've obviously got shield and spear, number of pouches and a dagger there in the back. Again, this doesn't look the great, but the white on there is pretty heavy. I think they've really slapped it on there to try to get some coverage. I'm going to prime these with a decent spray primer. So this is how I had to paint them back in the day, brushing them on. Again, here's the back in the prime state. The detail does look a little bit more washed out there. But, again, I still can't get over it. I've tried to capture this a couple of times. Really hard. I just took these with my phone, obviously. I don't have, a flash camera to really sort of capture it properly. But I reckon these look great. And, again, these are really, really... They're dwarfs, so they're small miniatures. Again, and there's a shot of them all. So I think that's really awesome. So even if I try to hold one up to the camera, I'm not going to be able to get it to focus, probably being a webcam. But they are quite, you can see here with the length of my finger, they are quite a small mini. And for the size, the details absolutely brilliant. You'll see that they have quite a small base from the photos. I've gone ahead and ordered just some round 25mm bases, ordered 100 of them, because I've got a bunch of Reaper bones in the cupboards that need painting too. So, good to standardise the base on them, so they will get glued onto the base. I aim to start making some new dungeon tiles. I'm considering getting foam cutter and doing them with foam, so I'll use a standard inch or 25mm square for the tiles. But overall, I think they turned out it's a brilliant deal, as far as I'm concerned. And the seller does have, and this is very hard when you're trying not to go all in, does have quite a lot of old miniatures. There is one, it's a wizard mounted on horseback from 1979. The sculpt is not as good as what these are, but 1979 is the year I was born. Wizard or a mage, whatever you want to call it, that's the class that I preferred to play. So I kind of feel like I have to get that one, and it's $5. How can you turn that down? But anyway, that's a little pickup. I've got bases coming, as I said. I'm not going to do a video of hey, I just got some bases. I'm undecided whether to leave the bases plain and just simply paint the miniature and have it glued on the base with no detail on the base, or whether I want to detail and texture the base. Problem is, you base it for sort of a dungeon-esque sort of floor plan, and then you have them out in the open. I don't know whether that's a big deal or not, or it was the same back in the Warhammer days, especially in the 90s. Doesn't matter whether it's fantasy, 40k, everyone had green bases with green flock, and then some people started using the Dark Angels green for the rim of the base. Or then people started to do brown because that's soil and that's below the grass and all those things. Before we had all these awesome sculpted bases, and people started texturing them or doing cobblestones with green stuff. But anyway, some Grenadier minis. I do plan to pick up more of these and the Rail Patha ones as I come across them, and they're a good deal because I love them. And let's face it, I don't think anything beats the heft of metal miniatures. So thanks for watching. I'll be pretty quiet over this weekend. Again, I'm on dad duty with my little fella, so that makes making videos kind of hard. Next week we'll be diving into the world building stuff. I've already been making some notes about things I want to talk about, and I've got another little video that I'll schedule to come out tomorrow for an important occasion. So thanks for watching. Look, I've really appreciated everyone's feedback on the video so far. My AD&D, I guess, versus 5e video got a lot more attention than I expected. I'm not in it to become a full-time YouTuber or anything like that, but But getting lots of great comments, and again, I appreciate the feedback. And yeah, I'll catch you to the next one. Cheers.